He wore a janitor's uniform, blending into the corridors of his own luxurious hotel. But the moment she spoke, just a few words from a humble receptionist, he froze, realizing his heart had been quietly waiting for someone like her all along. "Welcome back, my wonderful family and friends. If you're tuned in and ready to dive into today's story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. Tomorrow, I'll be bringing you another exciting story you definitely don't want to miss. So, let's get started." The lobby of the opulent Bella Vista Hotel gleamed under crystal chandeliers, the air infused with the faint scent of fresh flowers and polished marble. Guests bustled about, their conversations a gentle hum against the clinking of cutlery from the hotel's nearby cafe. Meanwhile, a figure moved quietly along the back corridors, pushing a mop bucket with careful precision. His uniform was plain, his gloves snug over strong hands, and his eyes occasionally flicked to the gleaming chandeliers above, hidden behind the shadows of his disguise. This was Alexander Sterling, the sole heir to the Sterling Hotel Empire, one of the most prestigious hotel chains in the country. Known publicly as a meticulous, almost distant billionaire, Alexander had grown weary of the constant scrutiny, the endless pressure to uphold appearances, and the artificial charm required in high society. Today, he wanted to experience life differently, unnoticed, unobserved, invisible. And so, he donned the uniform of a janitor and disappeared into the hotel's lesser-seen corners. He enjoyed the quiet anonymity, the subtle interactions he could have without anyone recognizing him. But even in this freedom, there was an underlying tension, an emptiness he couldn't quite shake. For all his wealth, all his power, there was a part of him that longed for something authentic, something real. Up at the reception desk, Sofia Rivera greeted guests with a warm smile that seemed to light the room despite the hum of activity. She was modestly dressed, her hands skilled from years of balancing small responsibilities and dreams she hadn't yet voiced aloud. Sofia loved her job, not for the glamour or prestige, but for the simple joy of helping people feel welcome, of creating a small oasis of kindness in a world that often overlooked it. Her voice carried over the lobby as she assisted a guest with directions to the spa. "Certainly, Mr. Hastings. The spa is just past the East Wing elevator, second floor. You'll find the relaxation lounge by the windows." Alexander, mopping the nearby corridor, paused mid-swipe. There was something in the warmth of her tone, the easy confidence she carried, that caused a strange jolt in his chest. He had interacted with countless people in his life, high-powered executives, socialites, and celebrities, but never someone who radiated such natural kindness. As Sofia glanced toward the hallway, her eyes met Alexander's briefly. He looked away quickly, uncomfortable at how unexpectedly affected he felt. He couldn't explain it. His life was one of calculated control, yet here was a woman whose mere presence made him stumble internally, whose voice could quiet the noise in his mind. Throughout the day, he found himself lingering near the reception desk, not for his usual hotel inspections, but simply to watch her work, to hear her laughter as she helped guests, to observe the small gestures that made her extraordinary in ways money could never buy. Sofia, busy with her duties, noticed the janitor, a man who moved with quiet efficiency, never speaking unless necessary. She smiled politely when their paths crossed in the corridor. "You're doing a great job keeping the East Wing spotless," she said warmly. Alexander froze. Her words were simple, innocent, and entirely unassuming, yet they struck him like a melody he had long forgotten. Nobody had ever complimented him with such sincerity, and certainly not in a way that felt like she saw him, not as a janitor, not as a billionaire, but as someone human. Thank you," he stammered, surprised at how easily his heart was racing. He turned away, pretending to mop a stubborn streak on the floor, but his mind was elsewhere. Who was this woman who could speak a few words and leave him feeling exposed and enchanted all at once? As the day unfolded, their interactions grew. Sofia continued her warm, professional demeanor, never aware of the true identity of the man she complimented. Alexander, meanwhile, found excuses to pass by the reception, to witness her kindness, to hear her laugh, to see the way her eyes lit up when she solved a guest's problem. By evening, the hotel had quieted, and Alexander returned to the hallway near the reception desk under the pretense of finishing his cleaning duties. Sophia, sorting paperwork, glanced up and smiled again. "You're here late," she said softly. "Don't overwork yourself." Alexander felt his chest tighten. He needed to tell her everything, to explain why her words had made him freeze, why he couldn't stop thinking about her, why a simple compliment had shaken him more than any business deal, any gala, any high-profile encounter ever could. But he couldn't. Not yet. His world was full of expectations, secrecy, and wealth that could overwhelm her if revealed too soon. "Just making sure everything is perfect," he replied, voice low, careful, masking the storm inside him. Sophia nodded, oblivious to the depths of his feelings, and returned to her work. Alexander leaned against the wall, feeling an unfamiliar mix of exhilaration and anxiety. He realized, with a clarity that surprised him, that this wasn't just a fleeting crush. This was something deeper, a connection that defied his usual control, something genuine, something worth discovering. Alexander knows he must reveal the truth to Sophia, but will her impression of a humble janitor clash with the reality of a billionaire who has secretly fallen for her heart? Have you ever felt an unexpected connection that took you by surprise? Comment below. What would you do if someone you never expected captured your heart? The following morning, the Bella Vista Hotel buzzed with its usual energy. Guests checking in, suitcases rolling over polished floors, and the faint aroma of fresh coffee wafting from the lobby cafe. Alexander, still in his janitor disguise, moved with practiced precision, quietly sweeping the corridors, wiping down railings and checking rooms. Yet his mind was elsewhere, circling back to yesterday's moment with Sophia. Her words, simple as they were, had lodged themselves in his chest, a persistent, sweet ache he couldn't ignore. Sophia arrived early, as usual, her hair neatly pinned back, her uniform crisp. She greeted the early morning guests with a warmth that seemed to soften the very air around her. Alexander watched from the hallway as she smiled at a child who had wandered too close to the lobby fountain. The child's laughter bounced off the walls, and Sophia's eyes sparkled with genuine delight. Alexander realized with startling clarity that her heart, so kind, so open, so pure, was something he hadn't been searching for but had longed for without knowing it. Wealth and power had never stirred him like this. Here, in the hum of daily life, he felt alive in a way no gala, no business deal, no luxury car could ever replicate. He found himself near the reception desk under the pretense of cleaning. But really, he just wanted to hear her voice, see her smile. When Sophia handed a guest their room key, she laughed at something the guest had said, a sound that made Alexander's chest tighten. He realized that he was no longer just observing her. He was mesmerized by her, intoxicated by her presence. A small crisis arose when the hotel's elevator stalled briefly, trapping a young woman inside. Sophia remained calm, speaking gently through the intercom to reassure the guest. Alexander rushed over, offering to help, though he knew the problem was minor and would soon be resolved by maintenance. Sophia glanced at him, unaware of the truth behind the janitor uniform. "You're quick to help," she said, her voice warm but curious. "I appreciate it." Alexander froze, the words piercing him like sunlight through clouds. She had said it again, another small acknowledgement of him as a person, not just as a worker or a passerby. His heart thumped so loudly he feared she could hear it. It's nothing," he muttered, pretending to sweep near the elevator, but his eyes never left her. Later, during a quiet moment, Sophia walked past the service corridor where Alexander was mopping. Their eyes met, and without thinking, she smiled. "You always seem to be in the right place at the right time," she said softly. Alexander's breath caught. That smile, that glance, it felt like recognition. Like a small key unlocking a door he didn't realize had been locked for years. He wanted to tell her everything, to remove the disguise, to confess that he was not just a janitor but the owner of the entire hotel. And more than that, that he had fallen for her heart. Yet fear held him back. fear of overwhelming her, fear of shattering the fragile magic of their growing connection. As the day progressed, Alexander found himself creating little excuses to linger near her. He offered help carrying packages, cleaning nearby tables, even checking the windows she had just polished. Sophia began to notice his attentiveness, not intrusive but considerate, and a subtle curiosity blossomed in her. "You're always around," she said once, her tone light but inquisitive. "Do you like this job? Or are you just a very thorough?" Alexander smiled, careful to keep his tone casual. "I enjoy keeping things in order. There's satisfaction in a job well done." Sophia nodded, but her eyes held a flicker of amusement, as if sensing there was more to him than met the eye. Alexander felt a thrill at that thought, a spark of hope that she might sense his truth without words. The emotional tension grew quietly over the next few days. Every glance, every interaction, every shared laugh added weight to a connection neither fully understood, but both instinctively recognized. Alexander began to realize that his disguise, though meant to protect his heart and hers, was creating a barrier he could no longer ignore. He had to choose between remaining hidden or revealing the truth before someone else. Circumstance, time, or fate intervened. The turning point came unexpectedly. Alexander was moving a tray of supplies when he overheard Sophia speaking to a colleague. "He's different," she said quietly, almost to herself. "There's something kind about him. Not just polite or helpful. Genuinely kind." Alexander froze. Her words hit him like a lightning strike. She had seen him, not the uniform, not the role, not the title, but the person he truly was. And in that moment, he knew his heart could no longer remain hidden. Will Alexander find the courage to reveal his true identity to Sophia, risking her trust but opening the door to the love he has been longing for? Or will he remain disguised, watching from the shadows as the heart he desires slips away? Have you ever felt a connection so strong you couldn't ignore it? Comment below. Would you reveal your true self to someone you love? The next morning, Alexander awoke with a sense of urgency. He knew he had to tell Sophia the truth, yet the fear of shattering the delicate balance between them gnawed at him. For the first time in his life, he felt vulnerable, not as a billionaire, but as a man whose heart had already been claimed by someone extraordinary. Sophia arrived at the reception desk with her usual warmth, unaware of the emotional storm brewing just beyond her line of sight. Alexander approached under the guise of routine maintenance, determined to maintain his composure. He had rehearsed what he would say, how he would say it, and yet, every step closer to her made his heart race faster. "Good morning," Sophia greeted him with her radiant smile, completely unaware of the secret he carried. "Morning," Alexander replied, voice steady but his hands betraying slight trembling. He wanted so badly to reach out, to bridge the gap, yet the weight of his double life held him back. All day, he lingered near her, small gestures of kindness slipping from him almost unconsciously. He opened doors, carried packages, and offered polite advice about guest interactions, all while maintaining the guise of a dutiful janitor. Each time Sophia glanced at him, her soft, curious gaze stirred something deep within him, a longing he could no longer contain. Sophia, meanwhile, began to notice the subtle differences in Alexander's demeanor. He was no ordinary janitor. There was intelligence in his eyes, grace in his movements, and a gentleness in his voice that contradicted the humble uniform he wore. She tried to push these thoughts aside, attributing her intrigue to mere curiosity. Yet, every interaction left her heart fluttering with emotions she didn't fully understand. As the day progressed, Alexander found himself retreating to quiet corners of the hotel to process his emotions. He feared that revealing his identity too soon would ruin the magic they had built. "She deserves honesty," he thought, "but I can't risk overwhelming her. What if she can't see past the uniform?" Sophia, on her side, wrestled with her own doubts. She felt a pull toward the mysterious janitor, yet the inexplicable sense that he was hiding something made her cautious. "Why do I feel so drawn to him?" she wondered. "And why does it feel like there's more beneath the surface?" Their emotional resistance created a delicate tension, a dance of proximity and distance. Alexander wanted to speak, to confess, yet he held back out of fear. Sophia wanted to understand him fully, yet she hesitated to confront the uncertainty. Each avoided step, each moment of restraint, intensified the longing they both felt. Later that evening, as the hotel quieted, Alexander finally mustered the courage to approach her. "Sophia, there's something I need to tell you," he began, but stopped mid-sentence, unsure of how to reveal the truth without causing shock or disbelief. Sophia noticed his hesitation and frowned gently. "You're holding back," she said softly. "If there's something you want to say, just say it. I can handle the truth." Alexander swallowed hard. Her words, simple and unwavering, pierced through the fear that had gripped him all day. And yet, the risk of revealing his true identity remained. Could she accept the truth, that he was not merely a janitor but the owner of the very hotel she worked in, a billionaire who had hidden behind a uniform just to see her truly? Before he could speak, the hotel manager called him over for an unexpected inspection, forcing Alexander to retreat once more into the safety of his disguise. The missed opportunity left him frustrated and vulnerable, while Sophia felt a quiet disappointment, sensing there was something unresolved between them. As Alexander walked away, he realized that resistance could no longer protect either of them. His feelings had grown too strong, his admiration too deep, and his love too undeniable. The moment for honesty was inevitable, and the longer he delayed, the greater the risk of losing the woman who had captured his heart. Will Alexander finally reveal his true identity to Sophia, risking her trust for the chance at genuine love? Or will the fear of rejection keep them apart, leaving their growing connection unfulfilled? Have you ever held back the truth for fear of losing someone? Comment below. Would you take the risk for love? The Bella Vista Hotel's annual gala was approaching, a night when the corridors would overflow with guests, lights would shimmer like constellations, and the lobby would transform into a dazzling stage for luxury and elegance. Alexander had initially planned to observe from the shadows, keeping his identity hidden from Sophia, but fate had other plans. An unexpected scheduling mishap forced Sophia to oversee preparations for the VIP suites personally. She was balancing guest requests, coordinating with the catering team, and supervising the decor crew. Alexander, tasked with overseeing logistics in the guise of janitorial duties, found himself constantly nearby, ensuring everything ran smoothly. The proximity was electric. Every time Sophia turned to direct a staff member, Alexander was just a few steps away. Their hands brushed over linens, their voices intersected over seating arrangements, and their laughter mingled in shared moments of lightness amidst the stress of the gala preparations. Sophia paused for a moment, glancing at him with genuine curiosity. "You seem to know your way around everything," she remarked. "It's impressive, even more than usual." Alexander's chest tightened. He wanted to tell her he wasn't just helping, that every detail he managed reflected his deep care for her, and not merely his job duties. Instead, he smiled, masking the truth behind modesty. "I just like things to go smoothly," he replied. Their forced proximity continued into the evening. Alexander, under the pretense of checking the lighting in the suites, found himself assisting Sophia with a particularly fussy table setting. Her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted the delicate silverware, and without thinking, he gently guided her fingers, steadying them with his own. For a heartbeat, their eyes locked. Sophia felt a warmth she couldn't explain, a magnetic pull toward the man who seemed to know her so intuitively. Alexander felt the same, a longing so deep it made his heart ache. In that moment, the boundaries between disguise and truth blurred. Every glance, every subtle touch, ignited emotions they both struggled to contain. Later, a sudden downpour trapped them together in a smaller service corridor while they waited for the rain to subside. The soft patter of rain against the glass created a quiet, intimate world apart from the bustling gala outside. Sophia laughed softly, shaking her umbrella and brushing water from her hair. "I hate that I have to manage everything tonight," she admitted, voice tinged with fatigue. "It's exhausting, and yet somehow, I enjoy it." Alexander watched her carefully, captivated by the way she moved, spoke, and smiled even when tired. "You make it look effortless," he said quietly, careful that his words didn't betray too much. Sophia turned to him, eyes searching, as if sensing a depth he had not yet revealed. "You're different," she murmured. "There's something about you. I don't know what it is, but I feel comfortable around you." Alexander felt a surge of hope and fear simultaneously. Comfortable? Could she feel the connection he had been yearning for as strongly as he did? Could he bridge the gap between the janitor she knew and the billionaire he truly was? The rain continued to fall outside, a soft backdrop to the growing tension between them. They stood close, sharing an unspoken understanding. Each was acutely aware of the other's presence, of the warmth that seemed to radiate naturally, without the need for grand gestures or words. In that forced proximity, their hearts were quietly speaking a language they hadn't dared voice. By the time the rain stopped, Alexander realized he couldn't leave without taking another step forward. He subtly brushed a wet strand of hair from Sophia's face, his touch lingering longer than necessary. She looked at him, her eyes widening slightly, and for a moment, words weren't needed. Their closeness, their laughter, their shared effort to navigate the chaos of the gala had created a fragile but undeniable bond. Alexander knew the moment wouldn't last forever. The gala would demand their attention. The pretense of his disguise would continue, and time would move forward whether they were ready or not. But in this corridor, with the world held at bay by falling rain, they had shared something real, intimate, and profoundly emotional. As the gala begins, will Alexander finally reveal his true identity to Sophia, or will the pressures of his double life force him to stay hidden, leaving their growing connection hanging in uncertainty? Have you ever shared a moment so perfect it felt like the world stopped? Comment below. Who would you choose to be honest with, even if it changed everything? The gala had begun in full splendor. The Bella Vista Hotel transformed into a glittering paradise of chandeliers, elegant gowns, and the soft hum of classical music. Alexander remained close to Sophia, ensuring that everything ran perfectly while carefully maintaining his janitor disguise. Yet the evening brought a sense of inevitability. He could no longer hide behind the uniform. Sophia, busy attending to the guests, noticed something unusual in Alexander tonight. His movements were precise, almost too purposeful, and his attention to every detail exceeded what she had seen before. The gentle way he guided her through minor mishaps, the subtle gestures that seemed to anticipate her needs, hinted at a life far beyond janitorial duties. Curiosity tugged at her heart. During a brief lull, she approached him, lowering her voice. "You're not just what you say you are you?" Alexander froze, caught off guard by her perceptiveness. Her eyes searched his, filled with gentle suspicion rather than accusation. He felt a swell of emotion, relief, longing, and fear all at once. This was the moment he had been waiting for. "There's more to me than I've let on," he admitted softly. "I didn't want to overwhelm you, and I wanted to know you without the influence of my wealth or title." Sophia's eyebrows rose slightly, a mixture of surprise and intrigue crossing her face. "Why would you hide something like that?" she asked, her voice gentle but probing. Alexander took a deep breath, the polished floors beneath them reflecting the glimmering lights of the gala. "Because I wanted you to know me, not the name, not the money, not the hotel. I wanted you to see me as I truly am, and I didn't want the expectations of my world to dictate how you felt." Sophia studied him, her mind racing but her heart open. She realized that every act of kindness he had shown, the way he had anticipated her needs, the way he had listened and laughed with her, the subtle attention he paid to her, was not the behavior of a janitor, but of someone accustomed to control, responsibility, and compassion in equal measure. I understand," she whispered, a warmth spreading through her chest. "It's not just about the hotel, is it?" Alexander shook his head, the tension in his shoulders easing. "No, it's about finding someone real, someone genuine, and in all honesty, it's you, Sophia. From the first time I saw you, I knew there was something extraordinary about you. I couldn't ignore it." Sophia felt her heartbeat quicken. She had sensed the connection, the subtle electricity between them, but hearing it spoken aloud filled her with awe and emotion. I felt it too, she admitted softly. Even when I didn't know why, even when I thought I was just imagining things. You made me feel noticed, seen, valued. Alexander smiled, a mixture of relief and tenderness washing over him. For the first time in months, he felt the weight of his secrets lift, replaced by the raw, thrilling reality of mutual understanding. To deepen their connection, Alexander shared a piece of his personal backstory, a childhood marked by expectations, public scrutiny, and the unyielding pressure to uphold his family's empire. Sophia listened intently, recognizing the human vulnerability beneath the billionaire exterior. She shared her own story in return, recounting her modest upbringing, the challenges she had overcome, and her unwavering commitment to kindness and hard work. The exchange created a profound emotional bond. Their experiences, though vastly different, revealed shared values: integrity, resilience, and the yearning for genuine connection. The barriers between them, status, wealth, and societal expectation, began to dissolve. As the evening progressed, Alexander and Sophia found themselves momentarily alone in a quiet corner of the hotel's grand terrace. The city lights sparkled below like a river of stars, and the soft hum of distant music created a private world for them. "Thank you for trusting me," Alexander said quietly, his hand brushing hers. "For seeing me for who I am, even before I revealed everything." Sophia smiled, a quiet blush on her cheeks. "Thank you for showing me that love isn't about appearances or wealth. It's about heart. It's about being seen, truly seen." The gentle connection between them was undeniable. Alexander's eyes lingered on hers, filled with admiration, longing, and a quiet hope. Sophia felt the same, her pulse quickening as their proximity created a shared, intimate understanding. As their hands brush and their hearts beat in sync, Alexander senses a fleeting opportunity to deepen their connection. But will Sophia fully embrace the billionaire behind the janitor before the night ends? Have you ever felt a connection so deep you knew it was real before the words were spoken? Comment below. What's the first thing you'd say to someone who changed your life with a single act of kindness? The Bella Vista Hotel had quieted after the gala, leaving the grand chandeliers casting soft reflections across the polished marble floors. Alexander and Sophia lingered on the terrace, wrapped in a bubble of intimacy that seemed to exist solely for them. The cool evening air carried the faint scent of jasmine from the hotel gardens, blending perfectly with the warmth that lingered between them. For the first time, Alexander allowed himself to fully drop the pretense. The janitor uniform no longer mattered, the billionaire facade no longer needed. In this space, it was simply Alexander and Sophia, two souls connecting across differences in status, wealth, and life experience. Sophia laughed softly, the sound echoing like music against the night. "You're not like anyone I've ever met," she said. "Kind, thoughtful, patient. It's like you see the world differently." Alexander felt his chest swell with a mixture of joy and vulnerability. "I only see it clearly when I see you," he admitted, his voice low, sincere. "Everything becomes sharper, brighter, more meaningful." Sophia turned to face him fully, their proximity now undeniable. "You've changed the way I see people too," she said softly. "You've reminded me that kindness can be rare, but it's the most valuable thing in the world." They shared stories long into the night. Alexander spoke about childhood moments that had shaped his sense of responsibility, the quiet lessons from a father who valued perfection over emotion, and the solitude he had learned to accept as a billionaire. Sophia shared her own tales, of family struggles, small victories, and the dream of building a life rooted in integrity rather than circumstance. Every word brought them closer, every glance and smile building a fragile but profound bond. They discovered shared humor, mutual admiration, and a surprising alignment in values. Their connection was no longer a fleeting curiosity. It had grown into something real, tender, and irreplaceable. At one point, Sophia reached out to tuck a loose strand of hair behind Alexander's ear. Her touch was gentle, deliberate, and the electricity between them was palpable. Alexander leaned slightly into her hand, closing his eyes for a moment, savoring the warmth of her presence. "You know," he said quietly, "I've never wanted anyone like this before, and yet, you feel like home." Sophia's heart fluttered. "I never thought someone could feel so familiar, so safe, and so exciting all at once," she replied. A comfortable silence fell between them. They watched the city lights twinkle below, neither needing words to convey the depth of their connection. For once, Alexander felt no need to maintain control, and Sophia felt no need to protect herself. They were two people fully present, fully open. Later, inside the hotel, Alexander escorted Sophia back to the reception desk. Their hands brushed again, lingering just long enough to spark an unspoken understanding. The trust they had built over days of quiet gestures and careful observation had blossomed into a bond that could no longer be ignored. As they share this moment of connection, a surprise guest arrives at the hotel, a figure from Alexander's high society world. Will their budding love face its first real test, or will the moment of vulnerability strengthen their bond even further? Have you ever felt a connection so deep it changes the way you see the world? Comment below. What's the most meaningful gesture someone has done for you? The morning after the gala, the Bella Vista Hotel hummed with its usual energy, but Alexander felt a knot of unease in his chest. The night had been perfect, the closeness, the laughter, the shared vulnerability, but now, reality threatened to intrude. A high-profile guest from Alexander's business world had arrived unexpectedly, and with them came whispers of the lavish sterling reputation that Alexander had worked so hard to hide from Sophia. Sophia, busy at the reception desk, noticed a subtle change in Alexander's demeanor. His smiles were tighter, his movements less fluid, and there was a tension in his shoulders that hadn't been there before. "Alexander, are you okay?" she asked softly, concerned. "I'm fine," he replied quickly, forcing a smile. "Just some business matters I need to handle." Sophia's intuition told her otherwise. The man she had come to trust, the one whose sincerity and kindness had slowly melted the walls around her heart, now seemed distant, distracted, and unavailable. Doubts crept in, subtle but persistent. "Why does it feel like you're hiding something again?" she wondered. The moment of tension escalated when the guest approached Alexander, speaking loudly enough for Sophia to hear snippets of their conversation. Words like sterling, heir, and billionaire floated through the air, confirming her suspicions. Her heart sank. All along, the man she had begun to trust and care for had been hiding his true identity. Sophia felt a mix of emotions: betrayal, confusion, and vulnerability. She had opened her heart to someone she believed was simple, sincere, and genuine. And now she realized that, beneath the humble janitor exterior, there was a world of wealth and influence she hadn't been prepared to encounter. Alexander, noticing her reaction, felt his own heart tighten. He had hoped to reveal the truth on his terms, in a moment where he could explain himself fully, where Sophia could see his intentions clearly. But now the revelation had come prematurely, and he feared he had jeopardized everything they had built. Sophia, wait." He began, reaching out to her, but she stepped back, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. You're not who you said you were," she whispered, her voice trembling. "All this time, everything I felt, was it all a lie?" Alexander's chest ached. "No, nothing I felt was a lie," he said earnestly. "Everything I felt, my admiration, my respect, my love for you, is real. I hid my identity because I wanted you to know me, not my money, not my title. I wanted you to choose me for me, not for my wealth." Sophia shook her head, conflicted. "It doesn't feel like that right now. I feel deceived." The distance between them was more than physical. It was emotional, a chasm created by secrecy, fear, and misunderstanding. Alexander wanted to bridge it, to hold her, to prove that his intentions had been pure, but Sophia needed space to process the shock. Hours passed. Alexander watched from afar as she moved through the lobby, helping guests with her usual warmth and professionalism, but the sparkle in her eyes seemed dimmer. Every glance he stole at her reminded him of the fragility of trust and the cost of his concealment. In a moment of quiet reflection, Alexander realized that love alone could not fix this. He would need patience, empathy, and unwavering honesty to repair the rift. And Sophia, for her part, would need to decide whether the sincerity behind his actions outweighed the initial deception. By evening, Sophia had retreated to the small staff lounge, gathering her thoughts. Alexander approached cautiously, careful not to overwhelm her. "Sophia, please," he began softly. "I understand why you feel hurt. I understand the confusion. But I need you to know, everything I've felt for you is true. I would never deceive your heart intentionally." Sophia looked at him, torn between anger, hurt, and the undeniable connection that still lingered. I don't know if I can just forget this," she admitted, voice breaking slightly. Alexander's gaze softened. "I don't expect you to forget. I only hope you can see that my love for you is real, and that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to prove it." Will Sophia find it in her heart to trust Alexander again? Or will the weight of his hidden identity push them apart before their love can fully blossom? Have you ever had your trust shaken by someone you cared about? Comment below. Would you give love a second chance if it meant seeing the truth behind the deception? The Bella Vista Hotel was quiet the next morning, a soft golden light spilling across the marble floors and polished windows. The gala's excitement had passed, leaving only lingering memories of laughter, music, and fleeting intimacy. But for Alexander and Sophia, the tension between them remained unresolved. Alexander had spent the night reflecting on his mistakes, the consequences of hiding his identity, and the way his carefully constructed disguise had almost cost him the one person he truly loved. He knew that to repair the bond, he would need to be fully vulnerable, to expose not just his wealth but the depth of his feelings and his unwavering admiration for Sophia. Sophia, meanwhile, was torn. Her mind circled the revelations of the previous night, the hidden truth behind the man she had come to trust. Her heart remembered every kind gesture, every laugh, every gentle touch, but her sense of betrayal made her hesitate. Could she trust him fully? Could she reconcile the image of the humble janitor with the billionaire behind the mask? Alexander approached her cautiously, finding her in the quiet staff lounge where she had been reflecting. "Sophia," he began, voice soft but steady, "I need you to know something. Everything I've felt for you, everything I've done to be near you, it's all real. I never intended to hurt you." Sophia looked at him, her eyes searching for the honesty she knew had always been there. "I want to believe you," she admitted, "but it's hard. I trusted a version of you that wasn't fully real. How can I know this? This is true." Alexander knelt slightly, meeting her gaze with unwavering sincerity. "Because the truth is me. Not the janitor uniform, not the wealth, not the name. Me. Every glance, every gesture, every moment we shared, I was present. I was seeing you. I was falling for you." Her heart wavered. Memories of their time together, the shared laughter, the small gestures of care, the electric moments of proximity, flooded her mind. She realized that despite the deception, the connection they had formed was undeniable, authentic, and impossible to ignore. I've never felt this way about anyone," she whispered, a mixture of fear and hope in her voice. "But I don't want to be hurt again." Alexander reached for her hand, holding it gently, reassuringly. "I promise you, Sophia, I will never hide my heart from you again. I want to build something real, with trust, with honesty, and with all the love I've been holding back for you." For a moment, silence enveloped them. The world outside the lounge faded away as they faced the decision that would define the future of their love. Sophia weighed her fear against the undeniable bond they shared, the moments of joy and connection, the depth of emotion that had grown between them. Finally, with a tentative but determined smile, she nodded. I believe you," she said softly. "I want to try. I want to see where this can go." Alexander's heart soared. Relief, joy, and a profound sense of love filled him as he pulled her into a gentle embrace. In that moment, the walls of hesitation and fear crumbled, replaced by vulnerability, trust, and the promise of a shared future. They spent the day walking through the hotel, talking openly for the first time without the barrier of disguise. Alexander shared more of his world, his responsibilities, and the pressures he faced, while Sophia shared her hopes, dreams, and fears. The conversations, filled with laughter, honesty, and quiet intimacy, solidified their bond, proving that love can thrive even after deception, if honesty, trust, and vulnerability lead the way. As evening fell, Alexander guided Sophia to the rooftop terrace, overlooking the city lights. The soft glow reflected in her eyes, and he took her hands in his once more. "Sophia, I can't promise a perfect life, but I can promise you love, real, unwavering love. Will you take this journey with me?" Sophia smiled, tears glistening, her heart finally open to the man she had fallen for. "Yes," she whispered, "I choose you." Their choice has been made, but as they embrace, Alexander receives a call from a major investor, an urgent decision that could affect the hotel and their future. Will this test their love once more, or will they face it together? Have you ever had to choose love over fear? Comment below. Would you take a risk for the person who holds your heart? The city lights shimmered below the Bella Vista Hotel's rooftop terrace, reflecting the soft glow of a setting sun. Alexander and Sophia stood hand in hand, hearts aligned, and the weight of uncertainty finally lifted. The past days, the disguises, the secrecy, the hesitation, the misunderstandings, felt like a distant memory, replaced by a newfound sense of clarity and purpose. Alexander looked at Sophia, admiration and love shining in his eyes. "I never thought I could feel this way about anyone," he said softly. "Not this deeply, not this completely. And yet, here we are." Sophia smiled, warmth radiating from her every gesture. "We found each other in the most unexpected way," she replied. "Through mistakes, secrets, and chance encounters, and somehow, it brought us here." The hotel below them buzzed softly with the quiet hum of evening activity, but the world around them felt suspended. The challenges of Alexander's dual life, the pressures of the billionaire world, and the humility of his hidden persona no longer seemed like barriers. With Sophia by his side, they had found equilibrium, trust, and a love that transcended appearances. As they leaned closer, their foreheads touching, Sophia whispered, "So, the janitor who stole my heart was the billionaire all along?" Alexander chuckled softly, a sound filled with affection and relief. "Yes, and every moment I spent pretending, every gesture I made, was to show you my heart, even if it was hidden beneath a uniform." Sophia's eyes glistened with tears of happiness. "I think I always knew," she admitted, smiling. "Deep down, I felt there was more to you, something extraordinary I couldn't see at first." The honesty between them now created a peaceful intimacy. They walked together across the rooftop, sharing stories, laughter, and dreams for the future. Alexander revealed plans for the hotel, new initiatives that would benefit both the community and the guests. Sophia shared her ideas, 2 ways to make the Bella Vista a place of warmth, kindness, and elegance, blending her perspective with his. In the quiet of the terrace, Alexander knelt, not out of formality but as a gesture of devotion. From his pocket, he produced a delicate, elegant ring, a symbol of love, commitment, and the journey they had taken together. "Sophia," he said, voice steady and sincere, "you've shown me the value of seeing the heart, not the exterior. Will you be my partner in life, in love, and in every adventure that awaits us?" Sophia's hand trembled slightly as she took the ring, overwhelmed with emotion. "Yes, Alexander," she whispered. "I will. I choose you always." Their embrace was tender, lingering, a culmination of all the trials, misunderstandings, and hidden moments that had led them to this point. The skyline stretched endlessly before them, filled with possibility, hope, and the promise of shared dreams. As the days turned into weeks, Alexander and Sophia's love grew stronger. Their relationship, once tested by deception and fear, now flourished under honesty, shared laughter, and mutual respect. Guests and staff at the Bella Vista Hotel noticed the change too. The warmth in Sophia's smile, the subtle pride in Alexander's eyes, and the effortless chemistry that radiated between them. Together, they launched new initiatives for the hotel, blending luxury with a sense of community and heart. Sophia's perspective brought a freshness to the management style, while Alexander's vision ensured excellence and care in every detail. Their partnership was not just romantic, but a collaboration rooted in shared values and mutual respect. One evening, as they watched the sunset from the rooftop, Sophia leaned against Alexander's chest. "Do you remember the first time we met?" she asked softly. Alexander smiled, recalling the moment he had disguised himself as a janitor, captivated by her presence. "How could I forget? Every second since then has been unforgettable." They laughed, a gentle, heartfelt sound that carried across the terrace. In that moment, all lingering doubts had vanished. Love, honesty, and trust had triumphed, and the billionaire and the woman who had stolen his heart were free to embrace a future full of promise. The world outside could wait. For Alexander and Sophia, the journey ahead was theirs to write. Together, as equals, partners, and true soulmates. Their story, born of chance, perseverance, and courage, was a testament to the enduring power of love when hearts are brave enough to follow it. The Bella Vista Hotel continued to thrive, filled with laughter, romance, and new beginnings. But as Alexander and Sophia looked toward the horizon, hand in hand, a soft breeze carried a single truth. They were just beginning the greatest adventure of their lives, together. Have you ever experienced a love that defied expectations and grew stronger through honesty? Comment below, what would you do to fight for a love that feels this real? Thank you so much for watching my story all the way to the end. Your support means everything. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts.